and welcome to a very special episode of The Popcorn King. That's me, Mr. Popcorn King. My name's Inti Conde. Have I said that on this show before? It feels weird to say my name, but that's my name. That's what it is. And today it's a very spooky episode because Halloween is coming up. It's Halloween. I could release this video, I guess, the day before Halloween, right? So the video's releasing the day before Halloween. It's Halloween tomorrow, guys. Unless you're watching this video on Halloween. In that case, it's Halloween today. I'm actually recording this on Tuesday the 29th of October, so it's actually Halloween in like a couple of days. I mean, you could even be watching this in the future, so it was Halloween. It doesn't matter. Basically, it's spooky season, right? Lots and lots of horror films are going, like, circulating people's minds. What am I going to watch on Halloween? I want to get a little bit scared, a little bit worried, and I'm totally in favor of that. And I personally think this year has been a wonderful year for horror films. And I'm talking about every type of horror film. I'm talking like the body horror. I'm talking about horror to do with real life sort of murders, horror to do with the paranormal, horrors to do with vampires, just all the different types of horror that you can think of. I'm interested in it all. I think it's really good for you to get your heart racing. It's like doing exercise, or it's like being on a roller coaster. It's just that, some people really shy away from horror films, but I think they're great. They're great for you. It's wonderful to be in the grip of a storyteller, and they've got you by the balls, and they're just like, I'm gonna squeeze. like they're like really just playing you like a piece of music, and you're just completely at the whim of the storyteller and the director because you're so engrossed. Horror films can be some of the shittest films that have ever been on cinema, and they can be some of the best. And I think this year particularly has been amazing, and we haven't even got to all of them yet, because I think Heretic, that's a horror film that's got really great reviews. That's got Hugh Grant. That's coming out like later on this week. So Heretic's coming out. And at the end of the year, we've got Nosferatu by Robert Eggers, or whatever his name is. And that's going to be another great film in the horror genre. So we've still got more, but I've got 10 wonderful horror films that have been released this year. Some still in cinemas, some you can watch on streaming, some on demand. So I'm going to give you my top 10, and I'm going to just quickly tell you what the worst ones I've seen this year are. Never Let Go, that one in the woods of Halle Berry, just meaningless sort of jump scares. Night Swim, that was out in the UK anyway. That was out at the very beginning of the year. It's about a swimming pool that sort of eats people. Just silly kind of, there's nothing type of horror film. Like what have you completely run out of ideas? You got a swimming pool that eats people. Not fun. And then The Watched, which was just a bizarre film by M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's daughter. And I feel bad that I don't remember her name, but I think it was her directorial debut, and it was not great. So stay away from those films. But there are 10 wonderful horror films that have come out this year. So I'm going to start with number 10, and this one's out at the cinema right now. It is called Smile 2. Yes, it's a sequel. I don't think you have necessarily need to have watched the first one at all. There are a little few references here and there, but really it's just a jump scares galore film. Like it jolts you back into life, and it's like sometimes that can be really, really cheap. You can see my review of this film and all the films that I'm gonna list here. But this one really does belong in the top 10 because it's just a phenomenal performance from the lead actress. This creepy idea of this smile, I just think it works so well. And yeah, I thoroughly recommend this film. Go and watch it. It's at the cinema now. If you're thinking, what am I going to watch on Halloween? That's at the cinema right now. You can go watch that film right as we speak. Speaking of speaking, there's another film. I guess it's in the sort of horror thriller sort of genre. We've got Speak No Evil, James McAvoy film, the weird film about the family that sort of befriend another family whilst on holiday, and they decide to holiday together in like a very, very isolated sort of cottage in the middle of France or somewhere, or Italy. really great performances. Like James McAvoy's acting his butt off. Everyone is doing a phenomenal sort of piece of acting. If you're not a fan of horror films that are just like jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, then this one's not that. This is a horror film that's going to make you feel incredibly uncomfortable, incredibly uneasy, and just like, no, this is a bad situation. This is a bad, bad, bad situation. That's the sort of feeling you constantly have. You're like, no, please, please leave this holiday, leave. This is going to end badly. And it doesn't get to that sort of like, it doesn't ever sort of let you breathe. Okay, the ending, like the more gory parts of the film, I guess, where it really kicks off. That's in some ways like a relief, because before that the tension is so high. You're like, oh no, no, that's the worst thing you could possibly do or say right here. Oh no, this is so awkward, this is so uncomfortable. Like, the film is squeamishly uncomfortable. So go and watch it. The acting is superb. At number 8, I've got a little vampire movie that I would recommend to you called Abigail. So Abigail is a really fun. It's one of those horror films that if you really, really don't like to be scared at all, this isn't that scary. It's just a fun horror film with lots of blood and gore, but it's done in like a real sort of exciting, fun way. It's about these kidnappers basically who kidnap this wealthy person's daughter. They take her to a house. The house sort of all boards up with metal boards, and they're all stuck there with this little girl. And she ends up being a vampire who's there to basically feed on all these kidnappers. And yeah, there's got blood galore, blood and guts, loads of vampire lore in there. Really, really well acted by the little girl. She gives an astonishing performance for her age. She's wonderful. And just in general, a really, really fun film. I totally recommend that. That's at number 8 on my list. Now we're getting to the top 7, right? Number 7, I'm talking about Immaculate. This is that horror film with Sydney Sweeney. Obviously, Sydney Sweeney's like the Hollywood darling at the moment, right? She's the girl of the moment, and you can see why. In this film, she is awesome, and this film takes you down some real icky routes that you didn't expect. It's about basically a nun who has become pregnant immaculately. She's never had sex before, so it's like, is this the new Jesus? And yeah, the twists and turns, the terror in this film, like the ending. I've still got the sound of the ending in my mind. You don't. There's something that happens at the end that they don't let you see, but they just let you hear it, and it's so like, oh my god. And it goes down routes that you kind of wouldn't expect. It really goes like, oh, we're gonna go there, we're gonna go there, we're gonna go that far. And yeah, really, really recommend that film. I thought it was tremendous. At number 6, we're talking about a little French movie which is called Infested. If you don't like spiders or any sort of creepy crawlies at all, I guess, watch this for Halloween, because this film freaked me out. I found it so scary. I was like, I was just like, I could feel the spiders on me. It's basically about a bunch of teenagers. It's in French, but don't, get over it. Get over it. Subtitles are fine, especially in a horror film where like the plot isn't that, like, it's not necessary for you to understand the film. If I'm honest with you, you could watch it in French without subtitles, and I think you'd probably still understand it. So basically, bunch of teenagers or sort of young adults in an apartment building, and these spiders get loose and they just multiply and they grow and they get quarantined inside this building. So they're stuck there, these spiders. Oh my god, they're the smaller ones are the scariest ones, because they're so little, and the way they just stop and they go and like they move so quickly. I hate it. Like I could feel them crawling on me. One of the scariest films I think I've probably ever seen. But there are still 5 better films that I would recommend for Halloween. By the way, you can see that one on Shudder, I believe. So at number 5, we've got Strange Darling. Yes, I know you might want to categorize this in like a thriller area, but there's loads of gore in it. It's violent as all hell, and it's so twisted, and it is, it's kind of freaky. It kind of freaks you out a bit, and it is scary. It is a good horror film. If you're not wanting to be like scared out of your mind, but you just want to watch something a little bit fucked up, Strange Darling is that. And it's really Tarantino-esque, as I said in my review. It's done out of order, so it's like it starts with like chapter 3 or chapter 4 or something, and then it goes like backwards and forwards, and then you learn more and more and more. It's really about this girl who's seemingly being hunted by this guy, and she's on the run and he's chasing her, and that's really all I'm going to tell you, because the less you know about this film, the better. I just think it's a tremendous film. It's so well made, exciting, fun, interesting, and like I said in my review, some really healthy attitudes towards consent and sex. At number 4, we're in the top 4 now, guys. Number 4 is Longlegs. Just for Nicolas Cage's performance alone. Like, I can't get the image of his fucking face out of my mind. Like, I'm still thinking about it. It's a sort of film that gives you a cold chill on the back of your neck, and like the goosebumps will appear on your arm, and like the hairs will stand up on edge, because it's that kind of terror, that kind of fear. It's not loads of jump scares. It's a creepy, uppy kind of fear. And you begin to sort of feel it. And then you just find yourself thinking about it over and over and over. And you're thinking about Nicolas Cage's performance, his face. It's so fucked up. Everything about this film is amazing in terms of it being a horror film. It's so interesting. It's kind of like a police investigation type film. But yeah, just highly recommend that. And now we are in the top 3. At number 3, ladies and gentlemen, of course I'm recommending Late Night with the Devil. Late Night with the Devil is one of those sort of multi-cam talk shows, and it's about this talk show host whose talk show is kind of going down the drain a bit, and he decides that he is going to save his show. He's going to interview a girl who is possessed by the devil, so to speak. And the film is just so inventive. Like, you've never seen this film, basically. Sometimes you see a film and you go, I've never seen that film ever. I've just never seen it. Like, it's completely and utterly brand new. And that's one of the most amazing things about this film. The acting is done really well. The conceit of it is, they really stick to it, right? You're really just watching an episode of this show with some tiny little bits from behind the scenes, but it's really like almost like a found footage type of movie, but done just exceptionally well. I can't remember the name of the lead actor. He's a wonderful actor, though. I highly recommend this film. Please watch it when you get a chance. Okay, now we're in the top 2. At number 2, ladies and gentlemen, this might shock you. You probably won't even call it a horror film, but I will call it a horror film because I thought it was very horrific. Alien Romulus. Alien Romulus, no joke, is one of the best Alien films that has ever been made. When they did Alien, the first film, it was a horror film, right? Even though it's set out in space and it's sci-fi, it was a horror film. It was trapped in this small space and there's a monster coming to kill you. That's basically what it was. Aliens, the second one, it became an action film. And then later on, Alien vs. Predator just became a joke, basically. But this one, they brought it right back down to horror by Fede Alvarez. The performances all around are really, really good. The goo, there's so much goo and slime and practical effects. And much like Immaculate, as I was saying, it goes down a route that you think, oh my God, are they actually going to go there? And they really do go there. And some people might actually get put off by the ending, but I was thoroughly impressed. I enjoyed it. I was like, what the fuck? You know, when you see something and you go, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? I feel like Joaquin Phoenix in Signs when he's watching that found footage video of the alien and he's like in his cupboard and he watches it and he's like, what the fuck? That's what I'm like watching the end of Alien. It's so fucking freaky. I thought the film was just fun as all like as fun as a film can be, as scary as a film can be, and as gross as a film can be. Just highly recommend it. Again, it's not jump scares galore. It's what you think it's going to be, but done at its sort of best possible way, presented in its best possible light. And then I'm going to take you down to number one. So the number one horror film of the year so far, like I say, we haven't even gotten to Nosferatu or Heretic yet. And there's other horror films coming out this year that I don't even remember. But number one so far this year is The Substance. We're talking body horror. It's got a real message that this film is saying. We've got Oscar-winning type performance. We're looking at Demi Moore's performance in this film, The Substance. It is second to none at the moment. It's one of my favorite performances of the year. The idea of it is basically, hey, this lady's turning like 50. She's too old to be in Hollywood now, but she comes across this idea. The substance. The substance is basically this procedure she can have where for 7 days she can be a really young, beautiful looking version of herself. And then for 7 days she is the 50-year-old version of herself, which is actually still kind of very beautiful. But being so obsessed with looks, being so obsessed with the way that culture makes women be obsessed with looks, it leads to just the most body horror, gruesome, messed up type of shit. And it's so interesting to watch. I gave a review on it. You know, it's not the perfect film, but it's one of my favorite films of the year, if not my favorite film of the year so far. I just think that this film knew what it wanted to say, and it said it in a way that you'll never forget. It's just full of blood, full of gore. It's full of like the body just being disgusting and changing. It's full of, it's making a comment on the human body. It's making a comment on beauty standards. It's making a comment on obsession. And what can I say? This film is a masterclass in those sort of body horror films. It's so gross, it's almost funny at some points. I'm almost laughing because the film is good. You know, it's something so good that you gotta laugh. It's like that, basically. So there we go. There we have it. My top 10 horror films of the year. Smile 2 at number 10. Speak No Evil at number 9. Abigail at number 8. Immaculate at number 7. Infested at number 6. At number 5, we've got Strange Darling. Number 4, we've got Longlegs. Number 3, we've got Late Night with the Devil. 2, we've got Alien Romulus. And at number 1, we have The Substance. Ladies and gentlemen, what a year it has been for the horror movie genre, and so varied, so many different sort of parts of the genre, so many subgenres, and I just think excellent, because this is a genre which is often overlooked by like the Academy and such, but they are churning out some of the best films of the year, in my opinion. So that's what I gotta say about it. Enjoy your Halloween, or if this is the future and you've already watched, it's already been Halloween, I hope you enjoyed Halloween. But yeah, just freak yourself out a little bit. You know, that's good for you. Get the heart racing. I think everyone could do with watching something a little bit fucked up. That's ideally not the news.